Are you looking for a video tutorial that is going to teach you how to build and deploy a modern, responsive personal portfolio website using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? Then this is the perfect tutorial for you. In this video, I'm going to teach you step by step on how to build this beautiful, responsive personal portfolio website using only HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. As you can see, this is a very beautiful personal portfolio website that you can build for your business. Okay, so this project is going to be very responsive, and that means it's going to look good on mobile phones, tablets, and desktop devices. It is going to have a light and dark theme functionality. We are going to have a very beautiful accordion for our frequently asked questions section. We are going to have a very functional contact section as well, where people can contact you via WhatsApp, email, and other social media. We are also going to have a fully functioning contact form where people can enter their name, email, a message, and send a message directly through the form on this website that we are going to build today. We are going to have a beautiful carousel for our testimonials. That is the testimonials from our past clients. We are going to have a beautiful carousel to present that. We will have a beautiful and detailed about section to showcase or to tell our potential clients or our visitors more about our education, our skills, about ourselves, and even our experience. We will also have a beautiful and filterable project section where people can click on the different services that we offer to see the projects that pertains to those services. All right, there is a lot that you are going to learn in this video, from CSS, HTML to JavaScript. There is a whole bunch of stuff that you are going to learn in this video. So without wasting any time, let me quickly walk you through the finished project. This is the beautiful portfolio website that we are going to build. As you can see, this is beautiful, this is elegant, this is modern, right? So up top we have our simple navbar with our logo and this button to toggle our theme. We have our image here and some heading, okay? And also we have our call to action buttons, right? So directly your visitors can click to see your projects, which we are going to get to in a minute. And also they can click this to go to your contact section where they can enter a message and then email you directly on your website. How beautiful is that? Right, we have our social media handles here, so they can click here to go to your GitHub, to your website, or you can add any other website that you have, your LinkedIn, whatever you want, you can do it right here. I'm going to show you how to create everything step by step. Down here you can see we have this beautiful floating navigation, which I think makes your website more modern rather than having that old style links up here, right? So let's scroll, or let's click here to go to the next section that we have, and this is our about section. Basically, this is where you are going to list your experiences, education, skills, and all that, right? So here we have our experience, and as you can see, the different experiences you have in your career, you can go ahead and then make them or present them here. We have our education, so you can click to see the education, or your visitors will click to see or read more about your education background, your skills, the different skills that you offer or that you have, and also about you. Okay, so everything about you also, you can present them here. Now scrolling down, we have the projects section or our portfolio section right here, and here people can see all the recent projects or all the projects that you have been working on or that you have worked on in the past. Okay, so right here they can also click these buttons to toggle or to filter the different projects depending on the services that you offer. So for the full stack, we can click, or your visitors will click to see the full stack projects that you have. The backend projects, right here we have only one backend project. For front end as well, we have 3, and they can click again here to see all the projects that you've worked on in the past. Beautiful. Also, for each project, you have some details. They can click to see the project, or they can click to see the code or the GitHub for that particular project if it is available. All right, let's scroll down, and this is the testimonials section, right? So here your visitors can read more about your past clients, okay? The testimonials from your past clients, and we are going to use a library called Swiper.js to achieve this carousel effect. Right, let's scroll down more to see the frequently asked questions section, and here we are going to have a beautiful accordion which we are going to code everything by ourselves. Okay, so you are going to learn how to code this beautiful accordion, and here you are going to have the frequently asked questions from your visitors. Okay, so that anybody that has that same question can just come here and then read more about that particular question. And lastly, we have this beautiful contact section. Your visitors have the option to click to message you on any of your socials or any of your contacts. So they can actually click to call you or to message you on WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, or email, right? But also they have the option to directly message you here. So let's say john@gmail.com, and also a message, right? So they can write a message here, and directly on your website they can message you, and this message is going to come to your email. So now let's see how this website looks on the light theme. Okay, so we are going to come back here and look at the beautiful animation, guys. Look at the beautiful animation on scroll, which is really, really cool. And look at the beautiful animation for the different sections on the page. This is beautiful. And I'm going to teach you how to do all this in this tutorial. All right, now let's see how this looks on the light theme. And there's the light theme for this website, which is gorgeous. Okay, so these are the different sections that we explored already. Right, this is the project section of the website. This is the testimonial section. We have the frequently asked questions section as well here, and lastly we have the contact section. All right, so let's go back up and let's see how this looks on mobile devices. Okay, so this is how our website is going to look on a mobile phone. Beautiful. You can go to the about section, education, we have skills, and then about me. We can go to the next section, which has our project, and this is the portfolio section right here. Let's scroll down or go to the next section. We have the client section right here. And we have the contact section as well. Beautiful. All right, so this is what we are going to build, and as I said, at the end of this project we are going to deploy this website and make it live, and we have a lot to do, guys. So let's get started. Let's go ahead and set up our hosting and domain name. And having used or having worked with many hosting providers, the one that I always recommend for everyone is Hostinga. Now in the description of this video you are going to find a link that's probably the first link that's going to bring you to this page, and that's an affiliate link that's going to give you the best deal for your hosting purchase. Okay, so go ahead and then click that link. That's going to bring you to this page, and if you visit this page and the design is a little different, that's because it changes from time to time, right? So there's Hostinga. Let's go ahead and then check out some of the hosting web hosting packages that they have. And right here is their premium shared hosting. Okay, so for only $2.80 per month, you are going to have, or you are going to be able to host 100 websites. They give you 100 gigabytes of SSD storage, as you can see here, free weekly backups, they give you free domain name. How cool is that? For most of the hosting providers, you actually buy the domain name separately. Okay, here they give you a free domain name and a free email as well. So they give you a bunch of other stuff that are very cool and very helpful as well. Right, so this is a perfect deal for me. I'm going to go ahead and then click add to carts, and as I said, make sure you use the link in the description to get the best deal on Hostinga. All right, so this is very affordable, so I'm going to go ahead and then use the 48 months. Okay, and that's going to give me the best deal. And right here, I'm going to go ahead and then enter my email. Right, so that's my email. I'm going to use PayPal. As you can see, my total is $133. Okay, now I have a coupon for you. Okay, and this is the best coupon on Hostinga. Go ahead and enter the coupon code EGATOR. Okay, that's right here. Enter that and apply and see what you get. You get 10% discount. So that is a very cool deal, and this is a very reliable hosting. That is why I went ahead and then got you this very important deal. All right, so we are going to go ahead and submit our secure payment. All right, so after the payment, make sure you check out your email to finish up everything, confirm your email and all that. And right here, I'm going to go ahead and then log in. So right here, I just logged in, and I'm going to go ahead. As I said, they give you a free domain name, so you can go ahead and then claim the domain. Okay, which is really cool. On most platforms or with most hosting providers, you actually have to buy the domain name separately, which will cost you probably $10 or more. Right, so the domain name I'm going to buy is Dummy EGATOR, and I'm going to use the .com. Okay, so let me quickly check if that's actually available, and it is. Okay, so let's go ahead. As you can see here, that would cost me $14, but here they are giving it for me. They're giving it to me for free, which is really cool. Let's go ahead and then claim this domain name. Yeah, I forgot to mention, but they give us a free SSL as well, so let's go ahead and install that. Yep, and that's installing, and that's going to make sure every traffic on the website is secure. All right, so now let's proceed to work on the project. Let's get the project categories, and that's the div that wraps around this. Okay, these links, that's it. You know what, initially I think the first one is going, that's the all button. That should have a primary class. Okay, we have the active class that we are going to style soon, or should I just call it primary? Yeah, that makes more sense, because we already have a primary class on buttons. All right, so we should have that right here. All right, so let's continue, and I'm going to display flex, give them a gap of 1 rem, justify content to the center, and I'm going to align items to the center as well. I'm going to have a margin of 3 rem for the top, 0 for the left and right, and then 2.5 rem for the bottom. Okay, so we save, and this is what we have. Perfect. Now let's target the project's container, and I'm going to display that to be grid, of course. And the grid template columns is going to be repeat, auto fill, min max, 18 rem, and then 1 fr. Okay, let's have a gap. A gap of 4 rem should be good, and perfect. All right, so this is what we have. Let's continue and target the project itself. Okay, these are inside an article tag with a class of project. Let's target that and give that a background of color gray 100. I'm going to add a transition of the variable transition, because we are going to have a hover effect. and let's give it a padding as well of 0.5 rem and a border. I'm actually going to make this padding bottom. Okay, and lastly I'm going to give it a border of 0.5 rem solid color gray 100. All right, now let's proceed, and I'm going to have a hover effect. So project on hover, I want to have a transparent background. Now let's target the project image. That's a thumbnail. The maximum height is going to be 12 rem. You can change that to match your thumbnail sizes. I'm going to give it a margin bottom of 1.5 rem, and I'm going to set overflow to be hidden in case we have an image with a longer height. Okay, now let's target the h5. So project h5, I'm going to give that a padding of 0 for the top and bottom, and then 1.2 rem for the left and right, so that we have some padding. Let's target the project paragraph and give that a margin of 0.5 rem, 1.5 rem. So 0.5 for the top, 0 for the left and right, and then 1.5 for the bottom. Let's give it a padding of 0 and then 1.2 rem, font size of 0.8 rem. We save this, and now we have it. Okay, but now I want to have some more space down here. Okay, so I can, let me just increase the padding bottom of this to 1.5 rem instead. Okay, so that we have some. So let me check the finished project real quick. Okay, so I think that's not enough. Of course, we should have some padding around here as well. So project CTA, we should make this align, and so we are going to give this a padding of 1.2 rem. I'm going to display this to be flex, give it a gap of 1 rem, and the padding is going to be 0 for the top and bottom, and then 1.2 for the left and right. Yeah, this looks good. Now I'm going to target the links and give that a font size of 1.3 rem. Give it a padding of 0.6 rem, 1 rem. All right, so we should go ahead and make this work. Okay, so on click of any of these buttons, we should filter the projects that relates to them. Okay, so we click backend, we should filter only the backend projects, right? And we are going to use a library called Mixitup. Okay, Mixitup JS. You can go ahead and then read more about this, right? So just like they have here, we click this, and then we have only the light blue. We click this, and then we have only the pink, and then on click of the white we have all the projects, just like we have in the finished projects right here. Okay, so that's how we are going to be filtering our projects. All right, and I have the library downloaded, so I'm going to include that in the starter file as well. And so let's make that work right now. So right away we should make sure we have a Mixitup library in our project. So I'm going to drag and drop that real quick. It's going to be included in the startup project files that I'm going to link in the description. So in the HTML, let's go ahead and make sure the JavaScript is linked. That's the Mixitup JS. And so let's go into our mix. Inside our list, we have a Mixitup main.js file. Okay, we just link that, and then we come back to our project section right here, and we are going to add a property called data filter. Okay, and for the first one, it should be a star. Okay, or you can do all. That means on click of this button, we want to select all the elements that we are filtering. Okay, we want to show all the elements that are available for the filter. All right, for this one, we want to only filter the front end projects. Okay, make sure you add the dot in front of the front end. And for this one, we are going to only filter the backend projects. And lastly, we will have full stack. And now for each project, okay, for each article here in the class, we should have a mixed class, and the class relates to whatever you want to give it. Okay, make sure you have the dot here, of course. It's as a full stack project. Okay, so let's give it a full stack class. Okay, it's very simple. Let's have another attribute here, and that is going to be data order, and this is going to be in the first order. Okay, so they are going to be 1 to 5. Okay, so this is going to be the first project that shows up. And so let's go ahead. The second one, we should have a mixed class, and this is going to be a front-end project, so let's give it a front-end class. Okay, and the data order is going to be 2. There's going to be the third project, so let's have the mixed class, and there is also a full stack, so let's give it that full stack class as well. So on click of this full stack button, that's the data filter full stack. On click of this, we are going to show this right here, this article tag, this project. We should give it that data order as well, and this is going to be the third project in the order. Let's have our mixed class here as well, and this is going to be a front end data order of 4, mix, and this is a front end project as well with the data order of 5, mix, backend data order of 6, and that is all we need to do here. All right, so once we have that done and we have our Mixitup linked here, we can go ahead and have some lines here in the JavaScript file, and of course I'm going to comment this. All right, so container element is going to be document.query selector, and that's going to be the project container. Basically, we are getting the container that wraps around all the cards or all the projects that we are trying to filter. Okay, let mixer be equal to mix it up, and this is in the documentation. You can go ahead and read more about it. So container L, and first you are going to set the animation to be false. I don't want their animation. We are going to add our own keyframe to animate our elements when we filter them. And here we are going to set mixer filter to be all. All right, so let's save this. And as I said, you can have a problem here. Right. All right, so of course you can come and then read more. Okay, you can click on get started and then read more about this to know how it is used. But basically, I don't want to waste too much time, so let's try this out. We click on full stack and then we get the projects that are full stack projects. For backend, we have only 1 project. For front end, we have 3, and for all, we show all the projects that we have. Okay, now we need some animation to make this look good, so let's go ahead and then have a keyframe. Okay, we can actually set this to true and it's going to give us some cool animation, but I have a problem with it. Okay, so when you click on the O and then you come back to click any of these, it doesn't work. Okay, maybe you can go ahead and then work around this to make it actually work, because their animation is very cool, but I don't want to waste time trying to fix this bug, so we are just going to write our own keyframe to make this to have an animation. All right, so let's go ahead and right here I'm going to have a keyframe and I'm going to call this animate project, and it's going to go from an opacity of 0 to an opacity of 1. Simple. So let's go ahead and add this keyframe. So animation, animate project, as a keyframe. 1.5 seconds is forwards. All right. Okay, so now we save this, come back to our project, and we should have a pretty cool animation now. Okay, a cool fading effect. All right, so now you can see I can click everything, click back on the O, and everything still shows. I can go back and then click anything I want. Right, perfect. Okay, so that is all for our project section, and now let's move on to the next section, which is going to be the testimonials section. All right, so let's get back into our HTML, and of course I need my comment here as well. Now for the testimonials, we are going to use a library called Swiper JS. Okay, so Swiper JS, that is the library we are going to use for this. And if we click on get started here, you can see that we should import a link here. That is the CSS. So we are going to go ahead and then import that. Okay, I'm going to duplicate this comment and then push it down right here. Okay, so this is going to be the Swiper.js link. So we have the CSS. Let's go ahead and then bring in the JavaScript link as well. I should import that here at the bottom. Okay. All right. Now, once we have that, let's go ahead and see how we can achieve this. First of all, each card. Okay. So in this case, each testimonial is going to have a class of swiper slide. All right. The parent of that is going to have a class of swiper wrapper, and the parent of that as well is going to have a swiper class. Okay, so that's how we are going to arrange our code. Now, in our case, we used pagination. If you look at the finished project, this is the pagination that we used. Okay, or that I used, right? So to achieve that, a sibling, okay, or the direct child, another direct child of the swiper is going to be the pagination, swiper pagination. Okay, so a div with a class of swiper pagination. I hope that makes sense. All right, so this is the format, or this is how it should look like, our code should look like, to make sure that the Swiper.js actually work. Okay, so let's go ahead and then achieve that in our HTML real quick. All right, so down here we are going to have, first of all, I'm going to have a section, and this doesn't have to do anything with Swiper, but I'm going to give it an ID of Swiper, give it an H1, and say what my clients say. Below that, I'm going to have a paragraph, and let's just do lorem 8. And now we can go ahead and then have our container class and then give it a class of swiper. Okay, so now we are actually following the format that Swiper JS is giving us. Okay, I just wanted to have a section that wraps around the whole thing. That's why I have this section tag. But now we are on the format, and so let's go ahead and have the swiper wrapper as well. Sorry, swiper wrapper. Perfect. And we'll have our swiper slide, but I'm going to put that in a figure tag, give it a class of the swiper slide class. And inside we are going to have a fake caption. Below the fake caption, I'm going to have a div of swiper client, and inside that I'm going to have a swiper client avatar, where is going to be the image of the person. Okay, so let's enter our assets avatar 1 and say client 1 for the alt. Below this we are going to have swiper __ client details, and it's going to have an h5 with the name of the client that's giving this testimony. And then we are going to have a small, that's the occupation of the client. All right, so this is the format that we need for our swiper slide, and so that is the figure, right? So we can go ahead and then copy, or you know what, for us not to forget, a sibling of the swiper wrapper should be the pagination. Okay, so let's go ahead and have a div with a class of, let's go back, with a class of swiper pagination right here. Okay, so that we have our pagination. All right, so we don't have to have anything inside of it, and so that's good. We can just duplicate our figure a few times, 1 2 3 4 5, maybe 6, and I'll save. So now if we come back to our project right here, so this is what we have. And to make this work, we are going to have some JavaScript, or we are going to add some JavaScript to that. And so right here you can see we have some code here. I can just copy this, come back to my code, go to the JavaScript, and I have a comment here already, so I'll just paste what I just copied from Swiper JS. And come on, what's wrong? Oh, of course I should copy from here, so I'll just undo this and then paste. All right, so now here I don't need this as well. I don't need, I don't want it to loop. If you want, you can make a loop, but I don't want that. And here as well, I'm going to set clickable. I'm going to set that to true. Right, in the finished project you can click on the pagination to swipe. Also, I'm going to have slice per view. It's going to be 1 on small screens, that's on phones. I'm going to have space between of 30. Right, now I'm going to have a breakpoint, so for medium screens. So for medium screens and above, I'm going to have the slice per view to be 2, that's on tablets. And the second one I'm going to have, and the second media query I'm going to have is set to 1024 pixels. So any screen of 1024 pixels and above is going to have slice per view of 3. Okay, so we save this and come back to our project, and let's see what we have so far. And we have our beautiful slice, guys. Perfect, we have our beautiful slice. Okay, and as you can see, we set the loop to be true. That is why when we get to the last element, it loops to the first one. Okay, so this in this case, this is the first element. All right, so if you don't want that, you can just set it to false, and when we get to the last time, it doesn't get to, or it doesn't loop to the first one. Okay, and when we come here and then get to the first one, it doesn't loop to the last one. I hope that makes sense. All right, so let's go ahead and then style this and make it look good. I've wasted too much time already, so we are going to be very quick with this one. Let me paste this comment. It is going to be for Swiper JS or the testimonials. I'll just target the Swiper wrapper, give it a margin top of, there should be some space here of 4 rem as well to push the pagination down. Okay, right here, perfect. All right, let me have a comment here. Nice. Now let's target the Swiper slide, give that a background of transparent, border of 0.5 rem, solid color gray 0, cursor of default, and a transition of the variable transition. Perfect. So now that's what we have. Let's continue real quick and have a hover effect. On hover, I want the background to be color gray 0. Let's have the fake caption. Swiper slide, fake caption, and give that a font weight of 500, font size of 1 rem, and a padding of 1.2 rem. We save that, and that's it. And the font weight for some reason is to font weight. Let me do 700 and see what happens. Okay, maybe 600 should be good. Nice. All right, now let's proceed, and I'm going to get the Swiper client. I'll display that to be flex, align items to the center, have a gap of 0.8 rem, background of color gray 0, pattern of 1.5 rem. All right, so that's what we have. Swiper client, avatar, width of 2.5 rem, aspect ratio 1:1, border radius 0.6 rem, overflow of heading. Okay, we have that as well. And yeah, I think that's good. That is perfect. I'm going to have a class here which is going to affect our pagination here. I want to give it a color. Right now, if I go ahead and then change our primary color to red, for instance, okay, you'll notice that there's not going to be red. Okay, there's blue by default, right? So I just wanted to have a variable color so that in case in the future we want to change it, it's going to be affected as well. All right, so I'm going to have a Swiper pagination bullet class. Okay, and the background is going to be the color primary. All right, so that's all I want to do here. Perfect. All right, so that's it for the testimonials section. Of course, I'm going to go ahead and to save us some time, I'm going to go ahead and paste what I have in the finished project. These are different, so I'm going to go ahead and paste this so that we don't waste time trying to edit the HTML. Okay, so I'm going to do that right now. All right, so I just pasted what I had in the finished project. Okay, and for the images, you are going to have them as well. That's the avatar images for the different clients. So you're all set. Okay, you're all set. You're all good to work on this project. No problem. You can just change the content to whatever you want, right? But I don't want to waste time, so that's it. Let's see what we have in the finished project. Sorry, in the project that we are working on. And yeah, perfect. Okay, just like we have it in the finished project. All right, so we are done with the testimonial section. Now let's move on to the next section, which is going to be the frequently asked questions section. Okay, very simple. Let's move on to that. Okay, perfect. Right. If you want, you can have an icon here for the testimonial section. Okay, I don't think that really is important, but if you want, you can have another link for that. Okay, now let's move on to the frequently asked questions section right here. So let's go back into our HTML, make sure we have our comments. I'll just copy this, scroll all the way down, have some space, and then paste. And there's going to be the frequently asked questions section. Right here, let's have a section with an ID of a FAQs. Let's have an H1 that will say frequently asked questions. Below that, we are going to have a paragraph, and below the paragraph, we are going to have our menu, which is going to have the frequently asked questions and their answers, right? So let's have a menu here with a class of container and another class of FAQs underscore container. Let's have our first list item, and actually let me give this a class of FAQs item. And so we are going to go ahead, and first we are going to have a div or two divs. Okay, the first one is FAQs item top, and the second is going to be the bottom. Okay, now for the top, we are going to have a span, which is going to have the icon. Let me give that a class of FAQ, or you can do FAQ as icon, but I want it this way, so I'll just go ahead and then try and search for an arrow. Okay, I want this. Come on. I want this, so I'll just copy, come back here and then paste it in the span. Okay. Next to that, we are going to have an H5, which is going to have the question. Okay, the first one, what's your hourly rate? That's the question. And for the bottom, that's where we are going to have the answer. But for a perfect alignment, I'm going to have an empty span here as well, because we are going to use grid to align this. So I just want a perfect alignment. So the number of elements here is going to be the same as the number of elements here, right? And so the answer is going to be inside a paragraph tag. And for now, let's just do lorem. Let's just do lorem. Okay, so perfect. So this is our first li. I'm just going to duplicate this a few times and we are good. Okay, for now I'm not going to change the content, or should I? Yeah, maybe I should. Okay, so the next question is going to be, how much do you charge per project? Do you charge per project? Do you work alone or as a team? Are you off days? Are you available for collaborations? What's your average return time? I don't know what that means, but And you can have as many frequently asked questions as you want, but I think this is enough. 6 is enough. I don't know how many this is, but yeah, I want 6. Okay, and so far we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to remove this last one. If you want, you can have as many as you want. All right, so now let's come back to CSS and style this real quick. I'm going to get the frequently asked questions container and display that to be grid. The grid template columns is going to be 1FR, 1FR. Okay, so we have that. I'm going to have a gap between them, a gap of 1 rem for the row and then 5 for the column. Align items to the center. Actually, I'm going to do flex start and give it a margin top of 4 rem. All right, so we save in this what we have. Now let's get the frequently asked questions item. Give it a background of color gray 100, padding of 1.5 rem, a border left of 0.5 rem solid, color primary, and I'm going to set the cursor to be pointer so that it looks clickable. And this is what we have. Now let's go ahead, and there are 2 divs inside this frequently asked questions item, right? There are 2 divs or 2 direct divs inside the li. All right, so both of those divs are going to be displayed grid, and the grid template columns is going to be 3 rem for the left and then auto for the right, and I'm going to align items to the center. All right, so perfect. Now I'm going to get the icon. It's too small, so let's increase the size to 1.5 rem. Okay, the arrow. Now, of course, the answers shouldn't be showing initially. Okay, we should click on them, which we're going to use JavaScript to do, but initially they should be hidden, right? So the paragraphs, they're inside the p tag, right? So the paragraphs should have a margin top, first of all, of 0.5 rem. Let me see. Yep, that's enough space. Or let's do 0.7 rem. Okay, and display them to be none. All right, so now this is what we have. All right, now I'm going to have a style that is going to be used in the JavaScript, and I'm going to have a show class that will display this to block in the JavaScript. Okay, and that's going to help us achieve the toggle effect. All right, so let's quickly move on to the JavaScript and add that functionality real quick to be able to toggle our frequently asked questions, or the answer to our frequently asked questions. Let me make this a little bigger, and let's go ahead and get all the frequently asked questions. That's the LIs, okay, the list items. So FAQs is going to be equal to document dot query selector all FAQs underscore item. Right, and once we have that, we can loop through them using the for each loop. So for each FAQ, I'm going to add event listener, and this is going to be a click event, and on click of that, we are going to run this anonymous function, and let's get the paragraph which is hidden. Okay, so p tag is going to be FAQ dot query selector, and that's going to be the p tag. And also I'm actually going to get the icon as well, because when we click it we want to change the icon, okay, to be the up arrow, if that makes sense. So the icon is going to be FAQ.query selector, and then we get the I, which is the icon. Or actually I gave it a class of FAQ icon, okay, but we can target the I as well. All right, so now if the paragraph has a class, so we say paragraph.class list contains, if it contains a show class, if so, then the paragraph is already showing, okay, and in that case we are going to remove that class. So p.class list remove the show class, right? Otherwise then our paragraph is hidden, and so we are actually going to add the show class instead, right? And that show class I'm talking about is this right here, okay. We just display to block. All right, so with this code we should be able to actually hide and show our paragraph or the description, right? Perfect. All right, now if we click to show it, we should change the arrow to look up, okay, to or basically we should make it an up arrow, and that's going to be okay, there's it. All right, so right here I'll just say icon.inner.html should be equal to this right here, okay, the up arrow. Oh, sorry, it should be this should actually come here. When we hide it, we should show the down arrow, not the up arrow. So I'll copy this and then paste this here and make this the down arrow instead. All right, I hope that makes sense. Okay, let me make this bigger and show you well. So this is the code for it. Okay, so you can, all right, so when we click and then we remove the show, that means we are hiding the paragraph, and so it's going to have the down arrow. Otherwise then it's going to be the up arrow once we show the paragraph, okay, or the answer to the question. And now that's what we have. Perfect. All right, so that's it for our frequently asked questions section. We do not have anything else to do here, so let's move on to the next section. Here's the last section, the contact section. All right, so let's quickly come back to our HTML, and of course I'm going to get my comment here, paste it down here. This is going to be the contact. All right, let's have a section with the ID of contact, and I'm going to have my container class and another class of contact container. And here we are going to have two elements. The first is going to be a menu with a class of contact options, okay, and that is going to have the links for WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and all that. Okay, so we have email, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, and then phone. Okay, so they can actually click to call you, which I think is cool. And so we are going to have those, and actually I'm just going to paste them to save us some time. So we have the first one, which is the email option. So the href is going to be mail to and then your email address. Very simple. And then we have the icon, the email icon inside here. We have the second one, which is Facebook Messenger. You just go ahead, grab your Facebook handle and then paste it right here. Very simple. We have WhatsApp, so you just do wa.me / your WhatsApp number, and then the last one is telephone, and then you add your number. Very simple, guys. So once a visitor is on your website and wants to contact you via any of these options, they just click to get you. All right, below the menu we are going to have a form, and for the action let's leave that for now. but inside the form we are going to have some inputs, a text area for the message, and then a button. Okay, so we have an input for name, email, we have a text area for message, and then a button to submit this form. All right, so that's it. That's all we need for the contact form, and we are actually going to make this form work as well, which I'll come back to in a minute. But now let's go ahead and then make sure we have CSS to make this look good. Okay, so that's going to be for the contact. Let's save, come back to our project, and this is what we have. All right, let's start this real quick. Let's get the contact container, and I'm going to give it a rate of 36%. Okay, let's get the contact options, and that's the div that that's the div that wraps around these links. So we are going to display flex, justify content to be spaced between. It's going to be aligned to the center. I'm going to give it a width of fit content, a margin inline of auto, give it a gap of 1.2 rem, and a margin bottom of 5 rem. All right, so we save, and this is what we have. Right now, let's target links. So contact options and the anchor tag. I'm going to give them a background and make sure we see what's going on. Yeah, I'm going to give that a background of color gray 0, a color or a text color of color primary, a pattern of 0 or 1.2 rem, border radius of 50%, a width of 4 rem, same as the height, display of flex, and I'm going to align items to the center and justify content to the center as well. All right, so I save, and this is what I have. Let's see, let me actually increase the font size to 1.2 rem. All right, perfect. Now I'm going to have contact option. I'm going to have a hover effect. So the background is going to be color primary variant, and the text color is going to be color gray 900. All right, so that's the hover effect that I have. Let's get the contact form now. I don't know if I gave that. That's the only form we have, right? So let's just target the form and give that a display of flex. The flex direction is going to be column, a gap of 0.8 rem. Okay, so we have that. Now I'm going to target the inputs and the text area. Give that a pattern of 1.2 rem, a resize of none. Okay, this right here, we shouldn't be able to do this, right? So I'm going to set the resize of none. If I save, you can see, let me rephrase this. If I save, you can see we can resize it. Okay, all right, I'm going to give that a background of color gray 0 and the text color of color gray 900. Perfect. Now for the button right here, that is form button, I'm going to give it a width of fit content, a border of 0, a background of color primary, and a pattern of 0.8 for the top and bottom, and then 2 rem for the left and right. All right, so now we save and come back, and and background isn't working for some reason. Interesting. You know what, let me just add the primary class here. Simple as that. All right, so we are done with the style for our contact section. Now, to make sure this form actually works, and that is to make sure people can actually fill the form and then message you by clicking this button, we are going to use form submit. Okay, so let's search form submit, and I've used it in the past, but for it to actually work we have to deploy it first. Okay, but let's have everything down before we get to that stage. So of course you should have an action, and that is going to be this link, which will include your email at the end. Okay, right here should be your email, and also you should have a method of post on the form. All right, so our action is going to be what we just copied, and our email or your email, mine is going to be EGATOR@gmail.com, and let's have a method of post on the form. Okay, also secondly you should have a name attribute on all the inputs, okay, or all the fields that you have in your form. So the name attribute here is going to be name, there's going to be email, and then we have message for the text area, and that's going to help you know the field in which each message belongs to when the form is submitted to your email. All right, so once you have that done, you are good to go. Okay, first of all you have to submit an initial message or an initial form for you to be able to activate this form, and as I said, we are going to do this once we deploy the website. All right, so now we are done with everything on the page so far. We are done with everything on the desktop, and the next thing we have to do is to make sure this looks good on mobile devices as well before we add the other functionalities and then proceed to deploy this website. All right, so actually I'm going to go ahead and then make sure we have our custom scroll bar. So in our CSS, way up top before the body, I'm going to have WebKit scroll bar. The background is going to be, let me just do RGBA 1148 185 and a 0.25. okay, the width is going to be 10 pixels. All right, so we save this and there's it. Okay, now I'm going to work on the scroll bar thumb as well, and for that the background is going to be color primary. Simple. So we save this and this is what we have. We have a custom scroll bar. All right, now let's proceed to work on the theme functionality. Okay, we should be able to click this to change the theme to be dark, right, or to toggle the theme. So to do that, let's head into JavaScript. First of all, we are going to have some class for the CSS. Okay, in our CSS we are going to have a class called dark theme variables, and I'm going to paste those variables in here. Okay, these are going to be colors for the dark theme, so it's just changing the lighter colors to be dark and then the darker colors to be light. Okay, it's just switching that. Okay, so it's very simple. Now let's come back to our JavaScript, our JS file, and I'm going to have some space here and call this theme. So first, let's get the button that we are going to click on, and we give that, or we call that theme toggler. So document query selector nav theme btn. Oh, okay, this is how I called it right here. Nav theme btn. Okay, that's the class I gave it. All right, so we get that, and on click of that, I want the body. So document the body dot class list to toggle that variable that has the dark theme. So we are going to toggle the class that has the dark theme variable or variables, right? So dark theme variables. Okay, so that's what we are going to toggle. And now if I come back to our project and then click, boom, we have our dark theme, right? I click again, we have light. I click, we have dark. So we have that toggle effect. Perfect. Now on click, or when I click to have the dark, I want to change the icon to be the sun instead of the moon, right? So right here, I'm going to search for sun icon. Okay, and I'm going to copy that. So when we click, we should change the icon to be the sun icon instead of the moon, right? So I'm going to say if document dot body dot class name is nothing, or we don't have anything as a class, then that means we have a light theme. Okay, so that means we have a light theme, and therefore the theme toggler inner HTML is going to be the moon. Okay, so if it is light theme, it's going to be the moon. Otherwise, then it's going to be the sun instead. And I hope that makes sense. So we save, come back to our project, and now boom, we have it. Isn't that cool? All right, now we have to make sure this persists in local storage. Okay, we save the theme in the local storage so that, you know what, let me put it on dark theme right now and then refresh the page and see what happens. It comes back to light theme, which we don't want. Okay, we want to have that theme that we chose, right? Even if I click on this logo, it's going to get back to light theme. I don't want that. Okay, I want the theme that I chose to be saved in the local storage. So to do that, so here I'm going to say window the local storage dot set item, and I'm going to call this portfolio theme, and it's going to be nothing. Okay, this one is going to be nothing. It's just a class that I'm saving. Okay, but for this one, it's going to be dark theme variables, right? I hope that makes sense. Okay, so now we are setting the item, but then if the page loads or if the page reloads, we are going to use the theme from local storage that we just saved or that we have saved. Okay, so const body class is going to be equal to window dot local storage dot get item, and we are going to get the portfolio theme that we saved. So now the document body class name is going to be the body class, right? So whenever the page loads, we are going to get that from the local storage and then put it on the body. So now if we come back to the project and I refresh, we have the dark theme. So that is what persists. Okay, and now If I change it to light theme and refresh, come again. All right, so it isn't working because I have a bug here, a spelling mistake. This should be portfolio. All right, so now if I save this, come back to our project, and let me refresh first. No, this should be what I'm working on now. So now it persists. Okay, so now it persists in the local storage. All right, perfect. Okay, so we are done with the theme toggle functionality. Everything is looking beautiful, and I think the next thing we should do is add the animate on scroll effect, or the animation, right? And we should do that before we get to the media queries. And for the animate on scroll, we're going to use a library for that. Animate on scroll. Let's go ahead and visit the website, and they have different fading effects that you can use, and they have flips, zooms, whatever, so many animations that you can use. But let's go to their GitHub and copy this link. That's the CSS CDN, and I'm going to paste that before a custom CSS. Animate on scroll, right? And they have a JavaScript CDN as well that we should include. Okay, so right here I'm going to copy this, come back to our project, and way at the bottom before our custom JS, I'm going to paste that. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to have some changes here. The duration for each animation is going to be 2 seconds, so 2000 milliseconds, and I'm going to have an offset of 80, or you can make it 70 or whatever you want. Okay, and that's the only thing I want here. Okay, I want to do here. So now we can go ahead and animate our elements. Okay, so we are going to start from the top, starting with the header. So for the main header, I want to animate the image. Okay, and so I'm going to do data AOS. So data animate on scroll is going to be a fade in. Actually, let me make that a fade up, and I'm going to have a delay. So data AOS delay of 800. So 800 milliseconds. Let's see what we have so far. Okay, I'm going to refresh this, and this is what we have. Okay, now the duration seems a little too fast. Let's see what we have in the finished project. Yeah, the duration that we have here is too fast, so I don't know why. 2000 duration. I made a typo here. Okay, so now we have a more smoother effect. Okay, so now let's add animation on all the elements that we want to add it on quickly. Go back to the top. The next element is going to be the H5, which is going to be a fading effect. So data AOS, just paste that. There's going to be a fading. There's going to be a fading as well. And the paragraph is also going to be a fading effect. Okay, we have those. Now for the CTA is going to be a fading effect as well. Right, so we save this and refresh. And that's it. Okay, if you want, you can add some delays to make it look even better, but I think this is okay. You didn't add a fader for the paragraph. Now it should be fading. Okay, that's cool. All right, so let's proceed, and I'm going to add some fadings to the resume as well. Now the resume, I'm just going to add it to the container, and that's going to be a fading as well. And I'm going to add a delay of 200 milliseconds. So let's see. We scroll, and then we have a fading for the resume. I'll refresh the page. We scroll down, and we have a cool fading. Let's head to the projects section, and I think it's going to be very similar to this, or if not the same. I'll just do the same thing here. Okay, so that's going to be the container. I'll just paste this to have a fading. So let me start from the top to see everything. Okay, and here we have a cool fading. All right, cool. Now let's move on to, for the testimonial section, I'm not going to touch it, but for the frequently asked questions section, I want to have some fade in effects as well here. So for the first element is going to be this, the second element as well. The third and fourth elements are going to have different delays, 400 milliseconds. And then the fifth and the sixth are going to have 600 milliseconds as well. And now when we save, we have this cool, almost like a drop effect. Okay, beautiful, nice. So that's how I want it. And now lastly, let's have some fading for our contacts section, and that's going to be on the form, and it's going to be a fade up. All right, so we save, and that's what we have. Perfect. All right, so let's go up. Let me actually change theme and then refresh. We have this cool fading. Our floating nav comes in. Oh, okay, so we did not have any hover effects for our floating nav, huh? Let's do that real quick. Have to have a hover effect for that. Floating nav A on hover. I want the background to be color gray. Let's see. Yeah, that's not good. What's wrong? Did I not give this section an ID of contact? Let's see. Contact. Yeah. All right. So now let's go back up. I click on contact, and I'm brought to the contact section. Perfect. Beautiful. All right, so the last thing we have to do before we deploy this website is to make sure it looks good on smaller devices. Okay, now if I show you how it looks on phones it looks terrible, and so we should make sure this is responsive, right? So let's come back to our CSS. Let me copy this comment, go all the way down, and then paste this media queries. Okay, so at media screen and max width, so any width below 600 pixels, I'm going to have these styles. Okay, so the body, first of all, I'm going to change the size, or the font size, sorry, to 1 rem. I'm going to get the general container class, and now the width is going to be the container width SM. Now let's target every H1 directly or as a direct child of every section, and a paragraph is a direct child of every section. We are going to give those a width of the container width SM as well. Okay, now I'm going to target the nav and give it a height of 4 rem. I'm going to target the header container, and here the width is going to be 90%. Perfect. Now let's get the header container P, or the paragraph, that's right here, and give it a margin top of 0.4 rem. Alright, now let's get the header socials, and I'm going to remove it. I don't need it on small screens or on phones. And let's see, I'm going to target my resume container. Okay, container, and here the grid template columns is going to be 1FR. So we have that. Now let's get the resume left menu, and the gap is going to be 0.7 rem. You know what, for the container I'm actually going to give it a gap of 3 rem. Yeah, perfect. So the menu here as well, resume left menu, is going to be resume left. Now let's work on the right side. So resume right, and I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to target the scale because the images can't even be seen here. So the scale, or the scales UL, I'm going to set the grid template columns to be repeat 3 times 1FR. Okay, not bad. And the gap is going to be 1.2 rem. Let's move on to the project, and I think I should have given, wait a minute, let's go to the projects, and here for the categories, since we displayed flex, I'm going to set flex wrap to wrap. Okay, so now the buttons don't overflow. Perfect. All right, well, let's continue, and I have some more styles for the project. So project categories, let's get that and set the margin top to be 2.3 rem. I'm going to target the project's container, and I'm going to set a gap of 1.5 rem between the projects. Okay, we have that. Right, so let's get the swiper wrapper, and set margin top to be 3 rem. Okay, now let's move on to the frequently asked questions container, and the grid template columns here is going to be 1FR. So we have that, and what else? I'm going to get the form, and I'm going to make the button have a width of 100%. Okay, so now that's what we have. Okay, all right, so this is what we have so far. Everything is looking exactly as expected. Perfect, guys. This is perfect, literally. All right, so this is what we created in this video. Let's go ahead and okay, so we have a bug. Interesting. Let me refresh this and then try again. Okay, everything seems to be perfect. What is going on? So when I click on skills and then click back on education, I have a problem. Let's see. Let's make sure we fix this before we proceed. And it will be probably because let's see. So we add the about class, and here we have the skills class. And there's the education. Okay, it should be resume, right? And then education, and also this should be class name. All right, let's try this one more time. Let's see what happens. So when I come to skills, go to education, I still have that bug. What is going on? Unquote. Resume right class name is not a function. Line 100. Of course, it's not a function, so it should be equal to this right here. So let's say we come back to our project, we go to skills, we click back on education, and now it works. Okay, perfect. That was a mistake I didn't see, so I hope you guys saw it and then corrected everything. All right, so let me make sure everything looks good on dark theme as well. I'm having a problem here. Okay, so on smaller screens, I should make sure I correct that. So let's see. That's for the resume right. Resume right with the about class. Let's get the UL and set the grid template columns to be 1FR. Yeah, perfect. 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 So now everything looks amazing here. We can filter our projects here as well. And I'm just noticing that we don't give what we click on should have the active or the primary class. We don't give it that. So to do that as well, let's come back to our project, and right here, where is it, where we have our what's going on? Okay, so right here on our button categories button, we should have a class of Mixitup control active. So whichever button that is active should have background to be primary and the color to be white. Okay, so now I'm going to actually remove the primary class from this. We don't need that. So whichever is active is going to have that primary or that active class. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right, so let's see what else we have. I'm just trying to make sure I don't have any bugs in this. Okay. All right, now it is time to make our website live on the internet. It is now time to deploy our website. All right, so go ahead and locate your project folder. Right here is my project folder, and we are going to upload it as a zip file. Okay, so I'm going to right click on it and then compress. Perfect. So we have our compressed file right here. And since we bought our hosting in the beginning of the video and claimed our free domain, we can go ahead and log in into our Hostinger Edge panel. I'm going to go ahead and business web hosting. I'm going to click manage. Perfect. And if you have multiple domains, you should go ahead and select the domain you want to deploy this website on. As you can see, I have multiple domains and I just selected this for this example. And so you can go ahead and then choose yours. You probably have only one, which will be selected by default. So once you have that selected, go ahead and then click File Manager. So we are in the File Manager, click Public HTML. And in here, you probably will have some files here. Okay, so just select those files using or holding Control and then clicking on them. And you have a delete icon here. You should just click and then delete all those files and folders that you probably will have here, right? And once you have done all that, go ahead and hit this upload icon and click on file, since we are going to upload a compressed file. And I'm going to go ahead and locate our project, which is this. That's the compressed file, or the file we just compressed. All right, so I'm going to select that and extract it. All right, let's enter into our public, and I'm going to extract it here. So I'm just going to do dot and extract. Now this is the folder that's been extracted. I'm going to go ahead and delete the zip file. Let's go inside our folder and select everything and move it into I'm going to go back and then move it into our public HTML. All right, so inside our public, we should have all our files. Okay, now this is going to be empty, so I'm just going to delete this folder. And now our website is live. Okay, so let's try and then visit the domain that we just, and there's a client's domain, so don't bother checking it. By the time you visit this website, it will probably have a different or something different on it. But let's go ahead and check out our website now on the internet. All right, so our website is live. As you can see, we have our log here, which means we have SSL enabled. Our website is secure and everything is working exactly as expected. So as I said, you need to activate the form once you deploy it so that any subsequent message will come directly into your email. So go into the email that you used so that you can activate this form. So I'm going to go into my email. So this is the activation message from form submit, and as you can see, they are instructing me to use this in place of the email inside of the code, right? So you can do that. Go ahead, copy this, go back to your source code inside the HTML action where the form is. You just copy this and then paste it where you entered your email in the action. Okay, and then from there you go ahead, click on this activate. So from now, anyone that sends message through that form on that website is going to be received in my email, which is pretty cool. All right, so that's it for the entire tutorial. Thanks for sticking around to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.